Hello and welcome everybody to another creative success story. My name is Orit and we're here on the Essetino Artist channel. I have a very special guest for you today. So with these creative success stories, we do a series of live interviews that showcases the wisdom and lessons learned from successful creative entrepreneurs all over the world. And today we are welcoming Rob Balasabas to our show to talk about how to build a successful online community around your passion, your message, your topic of expertise. And Rob is the brand evangelist at Tubebuddy. And I've seen him in action, guys. He's awesome. He's speaking at various conferences, summits, podcasts, live stream interviews. He creates a ton of highly valuable quality content on his own channels, primarily on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And Rob shares a lot of video marketing and creation strategies, live streaming tips, as well as tools and software reviews. Basically, all these videos are to help you, the content creator. So definitely go and subscribe to his YouTube channel as you're watching this. The link is in the description below. And Rob, we're so excited to have you here.
Ari, yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's awesome. I love what you guys are doing. You and Jewel, you guys are both just crushing it out there. I'm a big fan, and I'm in the audience sitting and just taking notes from all that you guys are doing. So excited to be on the show and hang out with you for a bit.
Likewise, we're learning lots from you too, Rob. Well, let's start with this. Let's start the conversation off with, how do you define a successful online community?
Yeah, that's a good question. Previously, a little background before Tubebuddy, I was with a company called Thinkific for like 4 years. So I was a big part of those 4 years. I was the community manager. So building the online community, which was a private Facebook group, which then started becoming, there was a bit of a demand to then connect offline. And so we built some things in place to also allow and encourage, and support offline communities, in different cities and meetups and things like that. So I think the way that I would define a successful online community is where it's a place where people can come and they can feel safe. First of all, that's a moderator. That's whoever the host is, you, if that's your community, it's your job to make sure that people feel safe, that people are open and they're able to ask questions without kind of feeling like this is a silly question. No questions are stupid. There's no stupid questions. And so making sure that it's a safe place, that people feel welcomed, and that it's also engaged. I think the way that there's different ways to measure a success of a community. It can be monetary, it can be business, it can be dollars, but it can also be engagement, which is really, I think, the big way that a lot of bigger companies and bigger brands that are more established are starting to understand that communities is not necessarily the place to sell to your audience. It's a way to engage with your audience. They'll buy down the road, but in this stopping point, in this station of the community for your brand, it's really a place for them to be engaged and ask their questions and see other success stories and, connect with other users and have a place where they can talk about, whatever that topic is, online courses or YouTube marketing, where maybe in their real life world, in-person world, they won't have those kind of connections and relationships because nobody really understands, what they do, and they're only able to find that in your online community. So I think for me, the way that you measure success is engagement. And so there's a number of different ways you can measure that, depending on the platform that you choose for your community.
Amazing. Yeah. So how do you elicit that engagement? Because you talked a lot about this. This is a key factor here, a key ingredient. So how do you elicit engagement from your community members to be this kind of supportive network for all members?
Yeah, good question. So how you get people to be engaged, I kind of look at it as kind of like, if it's your place, somebody's going to be coming to a dinner or a barbecue at your place, right? So when people come over, you need to welcome them. You need to be welcoming, welcome them, tell them what you're doing here, ask them questions and start engaging with them that way. So asking a lot of questions and being welcoming. When other people come to your barbecue, you don't want to be the person that handles all of the conversations, because you're not going to be able to. So what you want to do is you want to start introducing people to other people in your community. Like, hey, Orit, you got to meet Jewel. I think you guys would have some synergies. I think there's some things you guys can work on. This is what Orit does. This is what Jewel does. And so also understanding, to be able to do that, you need to understand what each of the members in your community do. What's their goals? What's their business about? What are they doing? What's their strengths? What are some of the things they may want to work on that they're looking for help with? And so getting to know your community allows you to be able to speak into those things and say, hey, Orit, I know you were looking for somebody for Facebook ads. That was something you wanted to use to scale your business. You should meet Dave. He's killing it on Facebook ads. That's all his business is about. So, being the person that starts the conversations will help you do that. As your community matures and it grows, then there's going to be sort of like the heroes that will rise up that become your conversation starters, right? So you're like, hey, I see that Jewel is like really engaging. She has really good questions. And so sort of working with them to become sort of the heroes or ambassadors of your community is going to be a really good way to get sort of like more voices to start engaging questions and start conversations within your community. So in the beginning, you're going to have to be the one that starts these conversations and ask questions and be really present in your community. As your community grows, then other people will start rising up to start those conversations. And then you just need to kind of step back a little bit and then make sure that you nurture those conversations and allow them to be safe, places for people to, engage.
And are there, so what sort of key ingredients then, besides, eliciting these questions, asking your community members their goals and that sort of thing, what are key ingredients to building this kind of successful network?
Yeah. So having a place where I think, if you have a community, you need to really be sure of what it is that your community's goal is. What's the mission of your community? Why would somebody join your community? Is it to be healthier? Is it to be more productive? Like there needs to be sort of like one thing that all encompasses everyone that's joining that community. This is why we're here, right? Is it to build better courses? Is it to improve your YouTube channel and grow your YouTube channel? So it needs to have that component of like sort of like one mission, and everybody can sort of gravitate to that mission. So I think that'd be the best ingredient there. The ingredient that you also need to have as the community builder is you need to, again, be like willing to help. And you really need to come from like sort of like a servant's like, place where you're not like this superstar that's like, they're coming here because they want to talk to you and you're like the star. You're there because you want to help other people, and that's why people are coming there. And so asking questions and then answering those questions, that's a really important thing. So Orit, I see a lot of comments in a lot of YouTube channels. They're not, they're growing, but they're not huge, but they're missing on replying to comments, really simple things, right? So even on YouTube, one of the things I tell people is that if you have a YouTube channel, you need to start thinking of building a community off YouTube, right? There's a lot of pros and cons, but with YouTube, you're able to build community in the sense that you have a community tab and you can reply to comments in your videos, but it's a little hard to find conversations that you are looking to track inside of a YouTube channel. So you need to start thinking of building a community off YouTube, whether it's a Facebook group or Slack or Discord or a different platform outside of YouTube. And so that's definitely one thing you need to start thinking about.
Right. And that's something that we also noticed and we started doing ourselves, because you can only get to a certain level with a community on YouTube. it feels more one-sided. You can engage, but if you want to go on to a deeper level and really get to know your members and that kind of thing, that's why we started our Facebook group. So do you have any advice in terms of what platform, like how do you go about choosing the platform that is best for your specific purpose?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a tough question. So the first thing is think about where your audience actually hangs out. So a lot of people will just gravitate to a private Facebook group. I built communities on a private Facebook group, multiple communities on private Facebook groups. They're great. A lot of people are on Facebook already. And so to get engagement for people to go and join your Facebook group is probably easier than most, off Facebook. The other options are Slack, Discord, Mighty Networks, Vanilla Forums. There's a number of forums that are off Facebook and off YouTube. Now, pros and cons with everything, right? Facebook, easy because people are on Facebook, almost, every single day. But it's also distracting, right? There's a lot of things happening on Facebook. They go to your group, but then they'll see a notification from their friend, or they'll see another group. There's another notification that they're in. And so it's distracting, but it's easy to grow a group inside of Facebook. Also, the other drawback to Facebook groups is that you don't really get as much data. So if you are very data driven, for example, if you want to understand correlation between, somebody that's engaged in your group, meaning maybe they comment once a week or once a month, how does that translate to them purchasing something inside of your courses? Mm-hmm. It's really hard to correlate that. Whereas other platforms where you can connect the back end, the APIs and all those things, you can see like, okay, if somebody engages with me and they comment or they start a thread, once a month, it means that they're more likely to purchase one of my courses, inside of my course, platform. So again, pros and cons. Now, there's also like, for example, I've started to build a community on Slack. Now, not everyone's on Slack. Not only is it something that's like depending on the person, but also geographically, I've learned that there's a lot of different pockets of the world where they're not super excited about Slack. Out here in North America, we love Slack. Wow. So again, but then again, it takes effort for them to get there. But if they're already there, for example, for a lot of people in the software world, we're all over Slack. We already have Slack channels, Slack accounts, right? And so it's easy for us to join a Slack channel. So if your community you're going after people that are in startup worlds or tech, most likely they're already on Slack. So yeah, you just need to figure out where your audience is hanging out, make it easy for them, but then also, think about the pros and cons long term.
How do you feel about Instagram, building a community on Instagram?
Yeah, I think about Instagram as it is. I've seen a lot of people build it on Instagram as well. I haven't built a community on Instagram at scale. But again, I kind of look at it like you can't really keep threads. People, you have to kind of look through the post, and if you're getting a lot of posts, it kind of gets lost. For us, we've used it as a way to like connect with people and then send them to either our forum, our community, Tubebuddy, or send them over to one of our Facebook groups.
Right. Interesting. Well, I want to pause here and get some questions here. I see Lenny has questions for us. So Lenny asks, what drew you to Tubebuddy? He initially wrote Tubebubbly. Highlight that because I think it's hilarious. But yes, what drew you to Tubebubbly?
Tubebubbly. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Lenny, get to connect with you. Get to see you. So what drew me to Tubebubbly? To Tubebuddy. I guess as a user, I was when I was at Thinkific, I managed our YouTube channel. So I was using Tubebuddy then, before any talks of joining the team. But from a distance, like I've seen them I get to see them at a lot of conferences because we were targeting the same people, video creators, YouTubers. And so I got to know the team. I actually thought the team was like this huge company. I thought it was like like 50 people, 100 people in the company. Later, I found out that there's only like 10, 11 people in the company altogether, and just, they're just very lean and mean, I guess. But yeah, so I love the platform. I mean, all the features and stuff, I used it. And then I got to work with them on a virtual summit, a Thinkific and Tubebuddy virtual summit, and got to know the team really well. And yeah, the conversation kind of went to like, that was a really awesome summit, to what's it going to take for you to join our team kind of thing. So it was a natural fit. I mean, the people were great. They're just an awesome team, very generous with, trying to help creators out there. And YouTube was a space that I really wanted to kind of get into, sort of as the next challenge in my career. So yeah, that's why I'm here now.
That's awesome. And I love your story, Rob, too. It's just so exciting. You're going from to see your progression, and the way that you also lead communities is just, it's inspiring. It's really inspiring. Thanks. Content creators. And Lenny's also asking about how do you, or, the Tubebuddy in general, manage their own community, in terms of staying engaged, what has worked, what hasn't.
Yeah. So there's a couple things I can speak onto that. So for us, we don't have, so first we have our community in a forum. So it's community.tubebuddy.com. So it's an actual forum that they've created. This was like started 5 years ago, before my time here. But there's like over, I think, 30,000 members in that forum, and very engaged. Also, with the nature of the nature of our company, we're a YouTube company, or YouTube-based company. So we also have a Discord channel, Discord server. I guess it's called a Discord server. I'm not a Discord user, but I'm there. So we have two communities serving two different types of audiences, and so that's where our community is. The other, I guess, speaking of YouTube, is our community is also on YouTube, because we have a weekly live stream with our platform, like with our partners. You guys have done it before. You guys have taken over our channel. So every Wednesday, we have a live stream, and one of our partners will take over our channel, our YouTube channel, and essentially do a workshop and, do Q&A. And the majority of the people that show up are repeat, they're there every week, and that's where we all get to hang out. It's like every Wednesday, we'll see you guys back here, see you guys back next week. So it's a way for us to engage with our community live, and then also bring in other partners. This is something that I think a lot of entrepreneurs and brands fail to think about. When they think about community, they're just thinking about their users, and they're not thinking about building a community with their partners and the people out there that are advocating and being ambassadors for their brand. So, as an entrepreneur, as a brand, if you're watching this, think about that, because you need to also there's nothing that goes further than just like sharing that your audience with your partners, and then your partners just appreciate it so much, and that opens up doors with them. There's a lot of our partners, they only use Tubebuddy, and only because we've built a relationship with them that goes beyond affiliate money, affiliate commissions, exposure, and sharing their expertise with our users, and trusting them with that goes way further. So as a brand, something definitely to think about. Don't just think about building a community, a Facebook group. Go beyond that. Who are the people that are advocating for you, your affiliates, and how can you give them a platform and share your platform, share your audience with them? That will really build that deep relationship.
I think that's gold, Rob. I mean, yeah, we've been talking about YouTube, or Tubebuddy rather, for so many years, and it was only recently that we connected, and we connected as well with Andrew, and we just really got to feel that appreciation, like both ways, treating us more like a partner, right, and not just another person, a community member. That's really special, and goes a long way. So that's really cool. Lenny has another question here. What are some goals for the next few months for you?
Oh man, the next few months. Oh man, to be honest, so we're locked down right now. So just to get some fresh air. Yeah, to be honest, we're just very focused. I mean, nothing much has really changed. There's no big things For Tubebuddy, being super transparent with you guys is, we're not a very sales driven company. It's not like, hey guys, this month, we need to get X amount of signups. That's just not how Tubebuddy operates. For good or bad, who knows? But that's just not how we operate. So more really our goal is just trying to keep on top of our community, making sure that we are getting on, like especially for the Wednesday live streams on our channel, making sure that we are on top of those and promoting them. With the huge influx of new users right now because of the pandemic, everybody's getting on YouTube. Really trying to focus in Lenny with customer education, so onboarding and really helping new Tubebuddy users, which are usually also new YouTubers in general, really understand not just Tubebuddy, but also how YouTube works. Every week we have what's called Tubebuddy 101. It's just a live demo session, Q&A session that me and Andrew do on our channel. And a lot of the questions are very like, what is a thumbnail? How do you upload? Just very basic things. And so we feel that we've kind of really owned that responsibility to educate people and new creators on YouTube to really understand YouTube, because I feel that for people to understand the value of Tubebuddy, they need to understand the value of YouTube. And so if they understand how YouTube works and they understand some of the things that you need to do on YouTube, then it makes sense that Tubebuddy exists, right? Or else it's like, well, what am I going to do with this Tubebuddy thing? I don't even know why that would help me on YouTube. So a lot of the focus right now for me, where I sit here at Tubebuddy, is customer education. And so trying to find ways to really help as many people at scale understand how YouTube and Tubebuddy works.
So it sounds like you're using a lot of live streaming to build this community about or nurture it, or have new members come in. You guys are doing what? So you have your Wednesday live stream. You have the Tubebuddy 101. How many live streams are you doing a week here?
I would say anywhere from 3 to 5, depends. Like not just on our channel, but also other partners channels and
Right.
live streams like this one.
Yes.
But yeah, anywhere from 3 to 5, sometimes more, depending on the week.
Amazing. So would you say that is like a key strategy that you guys are using to grow your community? Also, what other key strategies like that can you think of that would be helpful?
Yeah, I would say definitely live streams. Live streams is a huge part of what we try to do. To again build community. It's just live streams are so easy. I mean, it looks easy anyway. After a while, it does look easy. And it's also a really good way to engage with our community. And so the live streams on Wednesdays with our partners, the Tuesday 101s, Tubebuddy 101 sessions. And then at least once or twice a week, I host a show called The Creator's Corner. And so that's really just a very candid kind of hangout session with one of our partners or somebody that is just doing really awesome things with videos online. And again, we get to engage with our community. And so, so live streams are great. I mean, people feel connected with you as a brand. You also get to understand your community really, really fast during live streams. I mean, I've seen you guys do live streams on Facebook and you're just answering questions. So it's a great way to understand your customers' pain points, especially if you're trying to build some type of training or courses or membership or products. Understanding your audience and their pain points and how you can help them. Live streams is great. You get to ask a question, they get to tell you what it is, the answer, and then kind of go back and forth. It's a great way to really build like a focus group almost for free. Right. So live streams is one of the things that we just love doing. And then as you do more live streams, again, this is just for everyone. You're building your authority, and you become sort of seen as an expert in the space that you're in. And so outside of connecting with your community, it's a great way to really have opportunities, to be invited into podcasts or other live shows or virtual summits. And so it's a great door opener, to get into other people's audiences, because you are consistent, you're showing up, you're answering questions on the fly. And it really, I mean, if you can answer questions as people throw them out at you live, then you can't help but think like, this person knows their stuff, they're an expert, so I should have them on my podcast. Yeah.
Right. And they really get to trust you, and, anything else that you put out there in terms of content for them, they'll really appreciate it and they'll eat it up. And it's really amazing to see how, one form, like you're doing one live stream, and that builds, that has an exponential effect in terms of the engagement in your community, in other pockets, like in the Facebook group and that sort of thing. So absolutely. How do you, I know a lot of people build these communities with a specific purpose in mind, not just engagement, which is a very, very significant point, but also, in a sense of nurturing a community so that they'll eventually turn into buyers of their products or services. So what advice can you give in terms of like, how do you take someone who's like an engaged community member to an actual buyer? What does that process look like?
Yeah. Good question. These are great questions. So a lot of people, I've heard someone say that like their Facebook group is kind of like their new email list, which I get what they're saying, but it's also like, it's a little bit different. It's not, with an email newsletter, it's kind of one way, whereas a Facebook group, it's a conversations, your little mini pocket of conversations that you're trying to have. And so if you want to get people from a free Facebook group to a paid course or a paid training, then you want to get them again. This is all just part of the funnel, right? So they're searching for something on YouTube, how to go live, how to do, how to build a podcast. They find your video because you have a video on how to build a podcast. In that video, you're saying like, hey, if you want to learn more, come and join my free Facebook group. They go to your Facebook group, right? Inside the Facebook group, you're having conversations, you're answering questions, and then you're maybe doing live streams in your Facebook group, free trainings, right? If you want to learn more, right? I'm going to dissect this process from coming up with a podcast idea to building a podcast, telling you what platform to use for that podcast, which again is an affiliate link to some podcast platform. And I'm going to help you come up with, your first 10 episodes in my course, right? And so, or you may have a webinar, and then in that webinar, that's where you will do the selling. So it's just really a funnel, right? And I mean, you guys know this better than me. So you guys know funnels way better than I do, but that's really how I look at it. A lot of people will think that you sell on your YouTube videos. I've never seen anyone really be successful with doing that. YouTube tends to be sort of the top of the funnel. And so that's where it goes. Top of funnel down to your Facebook group, and then into exclusive training. And then within that training, that's where you do the selling in the webinar.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's something that we do too, guys, is like, you got to put out, you just have to give, you have to give as much value as you can. That's what our intention is with our YouTube channel, and then bring people into your community that way. And yeah, those people, they'll get to like, know, and trust you. They'll get to know, like, become super fans even. And eventually will buy whatever it is that you have to offer. And I love as well that you can use your community to discover new products that you can create that will be even more helpful for them. So there's so many benefits to building an engaged community. And so there's this whole balancing act then, right, Rob? Like, you have to balance promoting your community to get new members, but then also nurture your existing members and give them a lot of value too. So how do you balance that?
Yeah, exactly. So you do have to put a fine line. I mean, this is my opinion. You do have to put a fine line where you give inside of the community, right? There's certain things that, like, hey guys, if you guys want me to share this process, this is a process that you can find inside of my academy. Again, because you can't teach somebody how to build a podcast in one live stream, So it needs to be, it's a course and it needs to have value. And so you need to figure that out, with your business. What is that thing that you're trying to sell? Now, you can still take pieces of that and share that inside of YouTube, inside of your community, because what they go to the course for is really to have that A to Z, or A to Z, Canadian. So
okay.
So A to Z of like whatever that process is that you're trying to sell inside your course or your product, or your training, or your mastermind. It's the order, right? The order, the A to Z, and also access to you. So a lot of the times, with digital products and memberships, they're paying to be there. Yes, they're paying to be there, but they're also paying for access to you. So more access to you should cost them more money. It's more of your time, right? So it may be, one model may be where you have a free Facebook group where you have, there could be hundreds or thousands of members, and maybe you're there once a week and you're answering questions, as your group is more established. If you want more access to me, this is a paid group where I'm there every day, right? It could be a Slack channel. So your free Facebook group you have a free Facebook group, and then you have a paid Slack channel, Slack community, where you are there every day. And that's where you hang out. That's where you answer questions. You have archives of your training on everything that you cover, how to start a Facebook group, how to start a podcast, how to get on live shows, how to get brand deals, all those things. And so again, you have access and you have everything in an order, right? And so, but on YouTube, they can access almost the same things, same content, but it's sort of like in different places, and they have to piece it together. Whereas inside of your paid community or groups, everything is all in order. So that's sort of the basic way that I look at it. Having that sort of access and convenience to the content that you're sharing.
And so you manage your time. I guess you set aside certain time blocks for promotion of the community or creating content here versus actually being present within the community. And you have certain, like, this is built into your schedule.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to go in X amount of days inside your free community, but then really you're serving, you're taking the time to answer, in your paid community. So It all really depends on your business. A lot of people, want to monetize by doing services. They want to manage YouTube channels, for example, versus having a community where they help other people, like teach them how to do YouTube themselves, and then they can do it. And then they don't have to provide the service and manage it themselves. So it just depends on sort of the lifestyle that you're trying to build for yourself and what it is that you have time for and what you want to focus on. Some people want to build community, some people want to do services. So it really depends.
Yeah. Awesome. Just want to also address some questions here, but sure. Hello as well to Roland. That's getting it done north of 7.
Hey, Roland.
Hey, Roland, how's it going? And Gracefully ADE TV, welcome. Lenny is asking, what's working for Tubebuddy in terms of growing their channel?
Yeah, so there's 2 things I would say to that, Lenny. Right now, we're still talking a lot about Tubebuddy. We want to obviously own any Tubebuddy searches on YouTube. We want to drive them to our channel. So we're creating a lot of Tubebuddy related tutorials, but we're also creating a lot of like YouTube-ish tutorials mixed in as well, right? So again, going back to, we need to educate people on how YouTube works and then how Tubebuddy makes your life easier because of how YouTube works. So we're doing that. And then I would say with our Wednesday live streams with our partners, we are really spending a lot more time trying to figure out the right topic for them to speak into. Because again, our live streams are, they're evergreen. So they're always on our channel, they're public. So we want to make sure that they're searchable as well. And so we're getting really, really good at that now and understanding our audience and really spending the time with our partners before they do the live stream to really understand and pick a really good topic that's searchable, that's of interest and of value to our users.
Awesome. And Lenny's also asking how much time is set aside to go over comments.
So with our team, we do have with the Tubebuddy channel, we have moderators. We have a number of moderators. So they're there every day. I would say, any given time, there's usually somebody that's watching all the comments on the Tubebuddy channel. The same team also manages our forum, so our community at community.tubebuddy.com. So I mean, full time for a number of people for our channel. Yeah.
And that is like a full-time gig.
It is. It is.
Like being, you want to be present with your community and answer every single question that comes in, and the timing as well to get to those questions is also important. But I mean, if you're just like us, one or two people with a ton of comments coming in, how do you manage that?
Yeah. I mean, even for me, I have on my personal channel, I have a much smaller channel than you guys. And I find myself like getting 30 to 40 comments a day. And it's super time consuming,
right?
It's super time consuming, but it's really telling. Like, it's really interesting to hear these comments and like, oh, that's what you were curious about, or like, oh, I never thought that anybody would be wondering about that question about microphones, and so it's very telling. I mean, one of the things, again, no plug to TubeBuddy, but it is a plug, I guess. There's a canned comments tool where you can create canned comments. And so if you're getting the same questions over and over again, if you get the same question like 3 times in a week, then you should just make a canned reply for your comments. And that way, with a click, the comment gets populated, the reply gets populated. You might tweak it a little bit to personalize it, but it'll save you so much time, So that's one of the ways we're definitely getting on that. But the other way is that even if your channel is growing, you may want to look at getting a moderator for your channel. Somebody that either you pay or somebody that you exchange something with. Maybe you get them into your course, for free, and then in exchange they manage the comments, a couple times a week, just to take some of that workload off you, and having somebody that is in your world, maybe one of your students or one of your people in your group, in your membership, then they know your business as well, so they'd be a good fit to speak into the questions, the comments that people are leaving.
Amazing tips, Rob. What would you say, or do you have any stories for us, let's say, in terms of like surprising lessons you've learned along the way while building a community, or anything like that we can learn from you?
Yeah. I would say also Lenny saying, do you get bot comments on your channel? Tons. Yeah, tons of bots. Lots of randomness going on there. But I would say in our community, in the communities I've built, there's just a lot of trolls, and there's a lot of people that are getting in there and leaving weird things. So I think you have to be on top of your community. You need to be present there, and you need to, as your community grows, it doesn't become if your community is smaller, the problem and the biggest thing that you have to worry about is getting conversations started, and sort of like posting every day, like, hey guys, what's your new videos this week, or like, what are the next videos that you're going to be creating, and what cameras these. So you have to start conversations. That's the biggest hat that you wear as a community builder. As your community gets a little bit bigger, the biggest thing that you need to become is sort of like a moderator. Like you have to police your community almost, because then you're going to start getting people you're going to attract the people that are going to sort of like promote and spam your community. So that's the thing, especially if it's a free group, then anybody can get in. And so you need to start thinking about setting alerts for keywords, different things like that. You may need to think about filtering the people that join your community a little bit better. With Facebook, you can put, I think 3 questions to kind of filter who joins the community. I know that, when I was at Thinkific, we wouldn't let there was a lot of like guidelines, if somebody just started a Facebook it'll tell you when they started their Facebook account. If they started in the last 6 months, auto reject. If they don't have a profile picture, auto reject.
Yeah.
If they don't answer any of the questions, again, auto reject. So you just need to be mindful as your community grows, who you're letting in.
And when you come across something like that, like a post of someone promoting or just not being, what the essence of what you want your community to be, do you just like block them, or do you explain, like give them a warning? How do you deal with that?
Yeah. Just give them a warning. Usually it's a warning. Depends. Sometimes, in the when they join, it's like, hey, if you sort of violate these like group rules, then we can kick you out, kind of thing. There's a lot of communities out there. You can kind of get those rules if you want to take a look. But yeah, depending on it, sometimes auto, like kick them out right away, or sometimes you just send them a warning, and that is your responsibility as the community host and builder.
Yeah. I love it, Rob, that you kind of simplified it for us in terms of like, as a community leader and builder, your main focus is to start conversation. And, that's like, just think of it in that term, because when you think of it in terms of I'm building a community online, there's just so many places your head goes to. So yeah, that's a really great takeaway, is you're there to start conversations. Are there any other sort of simple pieces like that you could give us, or I'll leave
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is, you just need to be present in your community, reply to all the comments. If not, start building a team that will. If you're a brand, I find that a lot of brands kind of don't really value community as much yet. A lot of companies don't really, because it's like, what's the return on building a community? Or even as an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, small business, you may be thinking to yourself, well, this employee could build a community for me, or they could do something else that gives me instant, return, dollar wise. But I think moving forward, community is one of the things that will start setting companies apart from their competitors. Having advocates for you that are out there in the community, in the corners of the internet that you can't be present in, talking about your business. There's a lot of people now, a lot of our partners, and even users that will tag me or Andrew or Phil and say like, hey guys, you guys have an answer for this, right? Like in like random Facebook groups, they'll be like, hey Rob, like just tag me in a question because somebody was asking about Tubebuddy versus a competitor of ours. Yeah. And so without those relationships, we wouldn't know about those conversations. And so having a community will really protect you as your company grows, and as competition gets like really close when it comes to futures and this course versus this course. People that are in your community that can be out there and advocating for you and saying like just awesome things about you and your business is what's going to be sort of like the deciding factor for a lot of newer customers that are going to be coming into your world. So I urge you guys, take that step to start building a community, whether it's a Facebook group or something else, but definitely start thinking about that, so that you can start growing that side of your business.
Amazing tips, Rob. One more question, actually.
Sure.
Do you have like a set amount of time? Because I know a lot of solopreneurs are watching this right now, so I don't have a team, but is there a certain amount of time that you would suggest in spending on your community, whether that's, welcoming new members, bringing new people in, nurturing the existing one, this whole community building concept? How much time do you spend on it per day, per week?
Yeah, really good question. And I don't want to speak into different entrepreneurs, business owners like schedules. I know you guys are all busy. We're all busy.
We're balancing so many different
things. So many things you're juggling. And so I think if you don't have the time, but maybe you have the budget, and you have a budget to maybe do something, whether it's Facebook ads or something, just consider maybe hiring on somebody that does community building. Now, don't hire a social media manager. So a lot of people will say like, hey, I have a social media manager. I found a social media manager somewhere, and I want them to build a community. Community builders are different. Community managers are different. They're not out there trying to promote your business. That's what a social media manager does. They're trying to amplify your message on social media. Whereas a community builder needs to be engaging. They need to know your business, and they need to represent your business. You know, you want somebody that also wants to be maybe a face of your business, right? Because a lot of people will know, Tubebuddy, but they also know Rob, they know Andrew, and a lot of times that's who they connect with, not necessarily the brand. They connect with the community manager or the ambassadors of your business. So yeah, I would definitely urge you guys, when it comes to the time thing, you need to block it off just like anything. So half an hour in the beginning, an hour, building a community, but just have, kind of lay it all out. Don't just throw up a Facebook group, have a plan, or else you're going to throw up a Facebook group and then it's going to go stale. And then you guys are going to say, community doesn't work. So just have a plan of what it is. Build a Facebook group, think about who you want to bring in there, and then think of a way to get it out to your existing audience to join your community.
Awesome. Great stuff. I have another question.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, wow. I was like, we're going to end this around 45 minutes, but you're just like giving it. Question. So how do you, you have a certain type of content that you post in your community, like in your Facebook groups, starting giving them questions and creating conversations that way. And then you have your content that is being posted on social media. And this question came up because you're talking about the difference between social media versus community building. So how do you show the difference between the two? Yeah, decide the difference between the two.
Yeah. So I think that social media. So as a social media manager, you're trying to promote your brand, your business, your products, your services. When it comes to your community, you're trying to talk to the people now. You're trying to ask them, okay, what do you think about this? Involve them in the process of your business. Hey guys, we're thinking about doing X or Y or Z. What would you guys be interested in? What are the pain points? What questions do you guys have for us? This is sort of like an in-house conversation now. This is not all over social. And so let's have a conversation. What would be a product or what would be a feature that you guys are interested in that we're lacking, we're not doing right now? So have it's almost your inner circle of users, of trusted people that are in your world that are using your products and services. And so you're not just trying to promote your products and services. Now you're having conversations with those people, and it's more of a personal conversation now, rather than just like putting up a LinkedIn post, And so yeah, that's really the difference. It's not like, let's make a nice picture. A lot of the times in the community, it's just text. It's just like questions, polls, questions, those sorts of things, So, and again, you want people to talk to each other, as much as you want to talk to them and you want them to talk to you. If you start getting your community members to talk to each other, that's awesome. If somebody in your community connects with somebody else, then they're less likely to leave because now they have a friend, right? They're connected. Like, hey, I'm here now. I know these people. And so I can't just leave, So yeah, they're more likely to stay because now they feel accepted. They have a place. And yeah, so think about that more, not just like, hey, let's promote my next webinar and my next thing inside of my community. Try to get to know your community members there,
Great stuff, Rob. Thank you so much. There's a lot of great golden nuggets in this interview. Where can people follow you, learn more from you? Give us a tip.
Yeah. No, anywhere. Just look up Tubebuddy, our channel, obviously, and all the Tubebuddy social channels. We're there, and then yeah, my personal channel. I'm there on a regular basis as well. So feel free to connect with me. Copy and paste my name. I got a really long last name, so connect with me on Instagram or LinkedIn, and feel free to ask me any questions, and I'm happy to help.
Amazing. And guys, we have Rob's, I believe we have all of Rob's social links in the description. Definitely his YouTube channel. So definitely check that out. Connect with him. He's a great person to connect with. Rob, thank you so much once again. And thank you to everybody who's watching this interview. We're happy to have you here.
Thanks, Orit. Thanks, Jewel.
Bye, everybody. Jewel says bye.
Thanks, guys.